Hey, well gone everybody, El here, and welcome to my review of One Piece, chapter 936, the Sumo Inferno. Now, before I start, I just have to put this on the table right now. I love Queen. I love everything about him, his personality. I don't care if what kind of devil fruit he has. I don't care if he's a master at observation, haki, armament, conquerors. Those things don't bother me anymore. I just love how he operates, and he's a pretty decent guy. There's a situation where, first of all, Luffy, Luffy calls him Balloon, and we know he calls him that because obviously his shape's like, he's round, and we know why he's round. He's round because if he was slimmer, all the girls would fawn over him, and that would be unfair to everybody else. Just that logic alone shows how fair he is. There's a situation where he realized, wow, I'm gonna have Luffy and Hyogoro fight all these guys, but they have the sea stone cuffs on. That's not fair. So let me take them off to give them a fighting chance. You understand? Now, obviously, Queen doesn't realize how powerful Luffy is, but at the same time, just that thought alone, it gives us an understanding as to how he operates, and I like that. I really like that, and how he reacted when Luffy called him a balloon was like, "Hey, Luffy, that's rude." That showed me the kind of guy he is. So compared to Jack and King, I know we don't know much about King yet, but we basically get the serious tone with King, and Jack, he's like the careless type, as in he just goes and does whatever like a child. But Queen, he's more fun-loving. He dances, he sings, he's fair, he has a nice personality. I love him. You understand? I really do. I really hope we see a lot of Queen, I hope, he doesn't disappoint us, When Queen suggested to have a sumo wrestling match, the thought that came to my mind is, I wonder if he's from Wano, I wonder where the calamities originated from, because no one else would really suggest a sumo match. I mean, then again, the Beast Pirates have been based in Wano for 20 years, minimum. And so we realized that maybe the culture would have been, would have affected them in some way. But it would be cool to find out where they're from. Speaking about time, we found out that Kawamatsu, he's been locked up for 13 years, and after explaining himself to Raizo was like, okay, like, what can I do? How can I help you? And Kawamatsu was like, okay, just find the key, to the cage and to my handcuffs. And so my handcuffs might be a bit rusty still, but let's at least try, and Raizo was like, okay, cool, let me at least see your face. And Kawamatsu was like, nah, I'm all chained up, and to me that raised a couple flags. It had me wondering, is this really Kawamatsu? Is this really him, or is he impersonating him? Obviously he's a good guy per se, because later down in the chapter we find out that he's speaking to himself and he's saying, Luffy, please protect boss Hyogoro. That he referred to Hyogoro as boss. Which implies that he worked under him for some time. You understand? And if that's the case, then is he really, one of Raizo's friends like that, or is he someone else? So I'm really looking forward to finding out, the reveal of who this mysterious character is. I'm not gonna call him Kawamatsu as yet. We're gonna see exactly what happens when he's revealed. That being said, I know I'm all over the place, but bear with me. It was a really nice chapter. I enjoyed it. So from there, Raizo is then recognized by the prisoners, and they're alerting Solitaire, and they're coming after him, and Raizo does something I find very, Raizo has been proving himself to be a very genuine and authentic ninja. I remember we saw him initially and we had our doubts. I had my doubts, but he's been showing us that he's pretty cool, and based on the things that he's been doing, I'm wondering if it's the power of a devil fruit, and I wouldn't be surprised, the nin fruit, the ninja fruit, the Naruto fruit. That'd be cool, because he does his smoke jutsu and he disappears like a regular ninja. It's possible that any regular ninja can learn these things, because as we find out, ninjas do exist inside of Wano. However, if it's a part of a devil fruit as well, I wouldn't mind at all. Wano does have an influx of devil fruit users, which we continuously find out as the story progresses, and so from this point, Queen then puts the colors, on Luffy and Hyogoro, and he's like, okay, guys, these colors are basically worse than the handcuffs, because Luffy was happy when they took off the handcuffs, but he's explaining, if you guys fall out of this ring, the spikes inside of the collar will then be triggered and your head is basically going to be decapitated. You know, simple and easy. You know, and Hyogoro was very concerned. You know, he's basically begging, you know, Queen to, you know, let Luffy do this by himself at least, because he's going to be, he's old, so he's going to basically slow down Luffy. But Luffy is as confident as ever, and the guards recognize how confident Luffy is and telling Queen, "Hey, Queen, you know, Luffy doesn't understand what's going on. Let's go. Let's show him what's happening." You know, because based on what Queen has explained, we find out that inside of this sumo match that he has arranged, right, is basically Luffy and Hyogoro versus everybody. You know, I guess Queen is going to have it as different stages, and it gets as more difficult as the stages progress, you know, but it's basically Luffy and Hyogoro, weaponless, nothing less, you know, nothing to help them, just them and their fists against the beast pirates and against the jailers who, you know, who are allowed to have weapons, and, you know, it can be more than one person against them as well. So, you know, according to the jailers, they think that they have the advantage, and inside Luffy's mind is like, okay, bring it, you know. So Queen starts the match, and we have a bunch of them coming towards Luffy and Hyogoro, thinking that they have the upper hand, and Luffy just activated, you know, the Color of Conquerors, and, you know, all of them literally just fell down, you know. And I thought the Queen would be a bit well, he was surprised, but I thought he would be discouraged. But no, he started laughing. You know, it was more ha ha ha. You know, one of those evil laughs. I could be wrong, but that's what I recall. You know, one of the evil, like more ha 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 ha. You know, so it's like he was very excited. You know, because, you know, Queen really wants Luffy to join the Beast Pirates. Well, I guess that's Kaido on, you know, on a whole, but, you know, Queen really wants Luffy, and he's saying like, hey, Luffy, look, if you decide to join the Beast Pirates, you know, I'll really let you go, no problem. I mean, Hyogoro's gonna die, but I'm really gonna let you go. And Luffy, he's really not interested at all. You know, and the face that Luffy did while activating the Color of Conquerors, you know, I found that to be very cool as well. You know, and so from there we move on to the bathhouse scene. Order. You know, from this point we find out that Drake and Hawkins, you know, they both decided, hey, look, they're going to search the bathhouse, because they recognize that, you know, a lot of information, you know, is tossed to and fro inside of the bathhouse. And so they got in front of the door, and Hawkins was like, hey, Drake, come, let's go. And, you know, Drake wasn't too into it. We didn't know why at first, but he wasn't too into it, and he was like, you know, he's not there to play around. He's just there to basically capture and defeat Sober Mask, Sanji, you know. And Hawkins was like, fine, whatever, you know. And Hawkins went inside and told everyone to stand in a line and lift up your well, they don't wear pants, you know, they can lift up their clothing or whatever, so they can show their ankles, you know. And if they have the crescent moon tattoos on their leg, then they're basically in deep trouble, you know. And Nami, Robin, and the rest, you know, they were kind of concerned. They were wondering if to attack, they were wondering if to run, you know, wondering what to do. And I looked on Robin's face, and she was game. She was ready for blood. I'm telling you know, and that would be something I'd love to see. But unfortunately, as much as I love Robin, as much as I love Nami, I don't think they could handle both Drake and Hawkins. Just Hawkins alone, you know, who has been proven to be, you know, he's proven himself to be a worthy contender. Honestly, you know, he's really been proven himself to be, you know, worth his talk. You understand? And so, you know, Robin and the guys, they were very concerned. And so they were freaking out. You know, it was at this point where Hawkins was like, you know, hey, you, and he was pointing at Nami, because he thought Nami was being a little suspicious, you know. And then Nami was like, hey, you know, no, I'm innocent. I'm just a poor girl passing through, you know. And Hawkins was like, hold on, isn't that, as in he kind of recognized who Nami was. And it was at this point where the towel fell down, Nami's towel fell down, and, you know, yeah, you know, she was exposed. You know, and he was inside of this scene where Sanji was revealed, because he was affected by the happiness punch. You know, and he had the nosebleed and whatever, you know. And it was at this point where Drake, he was about to come in, but then he recognized, you know, all the girls, and he himself fell back as well, you know. So clearly we understand why he didn't come into the bathhouse, because he has a weakness, you know, for ladies, just as Sanji, or maybe even worse, you know. It was at this point where Hawkins saw the Sober Mask and was like, hold on, Sober Mask, that's Germatech, because we know that both Hawkins and Drake are from the North Blue, and so they recognize the Germa technology, And from here, Sanji, grabbed everyone and began to fly away. And so that was basically the chapter. Oh no! Wow, how could I forget the ending, where we have a Zoro fight-ish, we found out who the one that stole Shusui. It was confirmed to be Shusui. We found out who stole. It was this big gigantic guy. We didn't really get a name for him, but he looks very intimidating. He's very large compared to Zoro, at least, but we know that Zoro can handle that no problem. And Zoro was like, hey, look, not only am I gonna take back Shusui, but I'm gonna take back all your weapons, because apparently this guy is a weapons collector, and so that's about it. Inside this chapter, we also found out on the side that Beppo was kidnapped, or he was found out. Inside of this whole arc, we're just finding out a certain thing. We just find out information on the side, like, hey, by the way, kid broke out of prison. Oh, by the way, Sanji's sword got stolen, he left. Oh, by the way, this, by the way, that, And so, I mean, that's fine. I know that all these things are gonna come into play, all these things are gonna connect in the future, whatever. So I'm just looking forward to see what happens in the future. Really looking forward specifically to see how Queen handles everything, because I like him a lot. And that being said, guys, thank you for watching my review of One Piece 936. Guys, feel free to comment, feel free to like, feel free to subscribe, and have a great day. See ya.